good morning, or afternoon, wherever you're joining me from. Welcome to another session of Kingdom Business for Life. My name is Susan Muthi, and today we are going to be looking at the issue of social wellness. What is social wellness? Well, let's start by just defining what social is. Basically, social is the society, the space that you occupy, your friends, your family, your colleagues, the people that you interact with. That is what we talk about social wellness. Then in that, you've got people who are, of course, your acquaintances, and then you have got your friends, and then you have got your very, very close friends, and you've also then got your family. That is basically the network of what social network or social wellness is. And the question we're looking at is, what's the quality of the networks that you have? And what should be the quality? What is the criteria of determining what sort of social contacts you should have? Now, I'll start with, this is not an easy subject, so I'll actually start with what Jesus said in Mark 3. Was it Mark 3? Yes, Mark 3, 31. And it says, "Then Jesus' mother and brothers arrived standing outside. They sent someone in to call him. A crowd was sitting around him, and they told him, 'Your mother and brothers are outside looking for you.' 'Who are my mother and my brothers?' he asked. Then he looked at those seated in a circle around him and said, 'Here are my mother and my brothers. Whoever does God's will is my brother, my sister, and mother.'" That is hard, guys, if truth be told, because there in one fell swoop, Jesus has literally just dissed his mother and his brother. He has said, "Those ones are not my brothers and mother. Those ones are not mine. Mine are the ones that do the will of God in heaven." And that actually becomes the standard unit by which we are to measure who our mother and brothers are. Very hard, because you see, Jesus said, "As the Father sent me, so I send you out." So the way Jesus is saying, as the Father sent him, he's sending you and me out. And how is it that Jesus was sent out by the Father? Jesus tells us very clearly, "Those that do the will of my Father in heaven, those are my family. Not those that don't do the will of my family." Now, that, guys, is hard. That is a hard teaching, because we're basically saying, or what God is literally, Jesus is saying there is, do not consider your blood family to be your family. Consider those that do the will of God in heaven to be your brothers, your sisters. Yes, that is a very hard teaching, because our social ties, our family ties are so strong. And the truth of the matter is that they are not, we don't know how strong they are until it's tested. And yet we have got example after example of the hardness in that, because Jesus also says elsewhere, "Whoever loves their father, their brothers, their sisters, their mothers, basically their family, more than you love me, you're not fit for the kingdom." Jesus said, "Not me. Not fit for the kingdom." Hard. Let's go to Abraham. Classic example. What does God tell him in Genesis 12? "Come out of your father's house, of your father's country, to a place I will show you." What God is basically doing there is redefining Abraham's social networks for him. He's saying that where you are, your social networks, I cannot do with you what I need to do in you, through you, where you are. So you need to come out of that. And guys, for some of us, for many of us actually, if you are determined to walk kingdom, if you're determined to fulfill the purposes of God in your life, that is a call you cannot get away from it. You will be called away. Now, of course, the question is, because God is not a God of confusion, these are the same family he has given us. Yes, it is true. So that becomes a fine balance. And so the question then becomes, what is the place of family in relation to working out the call of God for your life? So this is what we say is, yes, love them, honor them, but also know that there is a boundary It's only so far and so far can you go. There's certain things that, certain family occasions that you can't go to simply because it's not kosher. God will tell you, no, don't go. For a season, God will pull you away from your family. I've literally had to live that way for quite a number of years. God has pulled me away from my family to make me. And in that, he will then also could send you back as an ambassador. So even when you're there, rather, you are standing as an ambassador, and they might hate you, like, oh, you went, you got saved, yeah, you think you're too good for us. It's okay, because at the end of the day, you will stand before God by your one lone self, and God will ask you, Jesus will ask you, what did you do with your life? I can assure you, your answer needs to be, I did everything that you called me to do, or I did as much as I could. An answer you cannot give is, I was not able to do, or I did not do A, B, C, D because my family. I beg, you will be shown the scripture of who your family was. And so from that scripture, we also get to know that God considers your family those that do his will. We have it from Jesus. Those that do the will of God, those are your family and your friends. Those, the ones that will continuously point you back to God, will continuously encourage you in the things of God, will continuously show you, tell you, teach you, iron sharpeneth iron, in how to walk the path that God has set before you. The ones that will help you carry your cross, the ones you will help carry their cross, those are your family. Those become your social networks. And I can assure you, they will be very few. For many of us to be able to achieve the things that God has called us to do, you will have very few true friends. Very, very, very few true friends will be able to stand with you and continuously point you back to the cross, back to God, and continuously encourage you in the word. Those friends that you can trust, who will stand there and pray for you when you're not able to pray, when you have got no faith left for yourself. Those are your family, because they're the ones that are encouraging you. When you're able to stand in that place and pray it through for them, you're that person's family, and it is invaluable. It is invaluable. But for your blood family, honor, love, respect, but have a boundary. Know where, which, what. It is going to be very important. When it comes to your friends, your friends are much easier to deal with. So you picked them, you selected them. You can also unselect them. It's literally that simple. You selected them based on commonalities, things that you enjoyed together, places you liked doing, on an attitude, a worldview, a perspective about how to live life, on what you hold dear, they hold dear. But the truth of the matter is, as you change, as you start and spending more time and walking as God would have you walk, those values begin to change. And so you can find that you can no longer walk with this person. I have lost many friends along the way. I have unfortunately learned how to begin to hold friends pretty loosely, not because I don't value them, but because I have come to understand something. For a reason and a season, people will come into my lives. I will go into their lives for a reason and a season. That season may be for life. It may not be for life. But I have learned I need to keep walking with God. I keep needing to walk with God. So I have also come to learn, for a reason and a season, I will have friends that we come together. God brings us together. And then as they continue their path of life, of righteousness, as they continue walking the path that God has set for them, as I continue walking my path, we'll separate. Not because we've hated one another, not because even our values have changed, but simply it is now time to move and go in our separate ways. And if I meet them, I will embrace them. They will embrace me. We will laugh, we will talk, we will chat, we will be happy for one another. But then when we go back our separate ways, and that is life. That is life. So when we're talking about social wellness, guys, my prayer for all of us is this: go back to the drawing board, go back to God, and have the guts. Now, this one takes guts. I'm not going to pretend to you it's an easy one. Have the guts to pray a very hard prayer. And that prayer should go something like this: anybody and everybody that should not be in your life at this particular time, out with them. You savor, you cut. And those that need to be in your life at this particular time, may God restructure them. May God put that correct connection, so that to get you're able to connect properly as He would have you connect. That really is my prayer for you guys. Yeah. And this is simply so that over the next 10 years, you're able to achieve that which God has set for you to achieve. You're able to move on, because the social networks can either catapult you or they can hinder you. And God forbid that they hinder you. Instead, may they actually catapult you to the next level. Okay? So thank you very much for joining me in this session of Kingdom Business for Life. The next session we shall be looking at is environmental wellness. What is it to be in a place of being environmentally well? All right? Thank you very much. Have yourselves a very, very lovely day. Cheers.